Murder charges against celebrities often spark massive media attention. These high-profile cases can shake the entertainment world, leaving fans stunned and the public captivated. While some were found guilty, others were acquitted, and some have remained embroiled in legal battles for years. Let's take a closer look at 10 celebrities who were once charged with murder, diving into their stories, legal battles, and the impact on their careers. Number 10. O.J. Simpson. The trial of the century. Perhaps one of the most infamous murder cases in history, O.J. Simpson's trial captivated the world in the mid-90s. Simpson, a former NFL star and Hollywood actor, was accused of brutally murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman, in 1994. The case became a media frenzy, with the public closely following every twist and turn. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Simpson's legal team, led by the famous Johnny Cochran, mounted a vigorous defense. Their argument was that Simpson had been framed, and in the end, the jury found Simpson not guilty of the murders. However, Simpson's legal troubles didn't end there. In a subsequent civil trial, he was found liable for the deaths in order to pay a staggering $33.5 million in damages. Number 9. Scott Hall. Wrestling with guilt, Scott Hall, better known by his ring name Razor Ramon, was a famous WWE wrestler who competed for over 3 decades. His career, however, nearly came to a tragic end in 1983 when he was charged with second-degree murder after a nightclub altercation in Orlando, Florida. Hall shot and killed a man during a confrontation outside the club. Hall insisted that he had acted in self-defense, claiming the man had reached for a gun. After an investigation, the charges were dropped, but the incident haunted Hall for the rest of his life. In interviews, he confessed that the memory of taking a man's life weighed heavily on him. Despite this dark moment in his past, Hall went on to achieve great success in the world of professional wrestling. Number 8. Don King. A king of controversy, Don King, one of the most famous boxing promoters of all time, is no stranger to controversy. Beyond his flamboyant persona and connections to organized crime, King has been linked to multiple violent incidents. Most notably, he was found responsible for the deaths of 2 individuals. In 1954, King was involved in a shooting that resulted in the death of Hillary Brown, a man who had attempted to steal from one of King's gambling operations. The shooting was ruled a justifiable homicide. However, 13 years later, King was involved in a fatal altercation with Sam Garrett, a former employee who owed him money. Garrett was beaten to death, and King was convicted of non-negligent manslaughter. He spent 4 years in prison before being pardoned. Number 7. Aaron Hernandez. From NFL star to convicted murderer. Aaron Hernandez, once a rising star in the NFL, had his career come crashing down in 2013 when he was implicated in the murder of his friend Odin Lloyd. The victim's body was found near Hernandez's home, and investigators quickly brought the tight end in for questioning. The trial was highly publicized, and Hernandez was ultimately found guilty of first-degree murder, receiving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. In addition to the Lloyd murder, Hernandez was tried for the deaths of 2 other men, but was acquitted in those cases. Sadly, in 2017, Hernandez took his own life in prison, leaving behind a troubled legacy. Number 6. William S. Burroughs, the writer who killed. William S. Burroughs, the legendary writer known for his controversial works like Naked Lunch, had a dark past. In 1951, Burroughs accidentally shot and killed his common-law wife, Joan Vollmer, during a party in Mexico. Burroughs claimed he was trying to shoot a glass off her head, but tragically missed, causing her death. After the incident, Burroughs fled to the United States to avoid prosecution. In his absence, he was found guilty of manslaughter and received a 2-year suspended sentence. The incident haunted Burroughs, and it was an event that he would reflect on for the rest of his life. Number 5. Robert Blake. The actor who was accused of murder, Robert Blake, an actor best known for his role in Cold Blood, found himself at the center of a murder investigation in 2001 when his wife, Bonnie Lee Backley, was found dead from a gunshot wound in a car outside of a restaurant. Blake was immediately suspected of being involved in the crime. Although there were claims that Blake had tried to hire someone to kill Backley, he was acquitted in the criminal trial due to a lack of evidence. However, in a civil trial, Blake was found liable for Backley's wrongful death and ordered to pay $30 million in damages. His reputation in Hollywood was forever tarnished by the case. Number 4. Snoop Dogg, the murder charge that nearly ended his career. In 1993, rapper Snoop Dogg was charged with murder after his bodyguard, McKinley Lee shot and killed a man named Philip Woldemariam. The incident occurred after Woldemariam allegedly threatened Snoop Dogg, and a confrontation ensued. Snoop was driving the car during the altercation when Lee fired the fatal shot. As a result, Snoop was charged with first-degree murder and faced a lengthy trial. The trial lasted for several months, and Snoop's defense team, led by the famous attorney Johnny Cochran, argued that Snoop had acted in self-defense. They claimed that Woldemariam had been a threat to Snoop's life, prompting Lee to act in protection of his employer. After 4 months of court proceedings, Snoop and Lee were both acquitted of the charges. The case put a significant strain on Snoop Dogg's career, with his public image taking a hit despite the favorable outcome in court. However, he eventually regained his popularity and continued to thrive in the music industry. Despite the acquittal, the incident remained a dark chapter in his history. Number 3. Phil Spector, the music producer who was convicted of murder. Phil Spector, a highly regarded music producer known for his innovative wall of sound technique, became infamous after the death of actress Lana Clarkson in 2003. Clarkson was found dead in Spector's home, and the producer's bizarre behavior during the investigation raised suspicions. Initially claiming that Clarkson's death was a suicide, Spector later changed his story, suggesting that the death was accidental. Despite his claims, he was convicted of second-degree murder in 2009. His legacy as one of the most influential music producers in history was forever overshadowed by his conviction. Number 2. Oscar Pistorius, the Paralympian who killed his girlfriend. Oscar Pistorius, a South African Paralympian known for his groundbreaking achievements in the Olympics, shocked the world when he shot and killed his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp, in 2013. Pistorius, who had become a symbol of inspiration as the first double amputee to compete in the Olympics, claimed that he mistook Steenkamp for an intruder when he shot her through the bathroom door. However, the evidence suggested otherwise, and the prosecution argued that Pistorius had intentionally shot Steenkamp during an argument. The case received massive media attention, and Pistorius's once promising career came to a sudden halt. Initially, Pistorius was acquitted of murder but was found guilty of culpable homicide. After a series of appeals, his sentence was increased, and he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. In 2017, Pistorius was again resentenced to 13 years for the crime. His story became a tragic reminder of how fame and talent cannot shield one from the consequences of violent actions. Number 1. Sid Vicious, the punk icon and the death of Nancy Spungen. Sid Vicious, the bassist for the legendary punk band the Sex Pistols, is remembered not only for his musical talent, but also for his tumultuous personal life. Vicious's relationship with his girlfriend, Nancy Spungen, was one filled with chaos, fueled by drugs and violent behavior. On October 12, 1978, Spungen was found dead in the bathroom of their hotel room in New York, having been stabbed in the abdomen. Vicious was arrested and charged with murder, but he had little memory of the events leading up to her death. His drug use had made it difficult for him to recall the details, and it remained unclear whether Spungen's death was a tragic accident or a deliberate act of violence. Sid Vicious was released on bail, but before his trial could take place, he died of a heroin overdose in February 1979. The case remains one of the most infamous in rock and roll history, highlighting the destructive nature of fame, addiction, and toxic relationships. And that's a wrap on these jaw-dropping celebrity murder cases. Which one left you speechless? Did you guess some of these shocking stories, or were there a few surprises? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darker side of fame, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the world's most shocking mysteries with us.